Hey everyone, and welcome to Cleverboy Gaming. I'm your host, Cleverboy, and today is episode 9. Wow, 9. Thank you so much for following me down this path, and I know it's early, but I just want to get those things out now because I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. My passion for video games only gets stronger around this time of year. And yes, I'm talking about the classic holiday season, the season of love and family, giving, and thanks. So I want to wish all of you guys a happy holiday season, and let's get right into the episode. As you may know, around this time is usually the time where most people are yearning to play that video game that they really never had the opportunity. I mean, whether you finally have a day off of work, or perhaps you finally had the opportunity to get that sale on Black Friday, or a good holiday sale to get your hands on that video game you wanted, or even if you've just been waiting as a child for a present. Just aspirations to get that video game that you've had your eyes on this whole time. I myself remember those days. So in today's episode, I'm just going to talk about 5 video games that I want to play. I haven't been able to play these games yet, whether it be I haven't purchased them yet, I haven't had the time, but I've had my eye on these video games for a while. And some of them are recent releases, some of them are a little older, but I'm just going to go through them and just discuss my anticipation on what the game may have to offer and what I've heard. We're going to be looking at some of the Metacritic scores. I like to use Metacritic as a base, just so I can get a feel of what's going on and what people are saying about the video game. Okay, I'm going to start off with this video game, which I'm actually pretty new into the series. One of my coworkers recommended it to me actually, and I love these type of video games, but you don't really get too many varieties of these type of video games. And this video game is Shin Megami Tensei 5. I've recently got into the series, as I said, for the first time, maybe a few months ago. And I got into the series by playing number 3, I believe, which is Shin Megami 3 Nocturne HD edition for the Nintendo Switch. And I have to tell you, I fell in love with this game. Now, if you're not familiar with the game, Shin Megami Tensei series is pretty much your traditional RPG with a twist. It stems from, I believe it has connections to the Persona series, so it's real heavy on the Japanese anime feel, the traditional aesthetics that you get from series like that. But it has a twist. It's a very, very dark toned video game. You're essentially a unknowing student. This takes place in Japan, I believe. And what ends up occurring is there's an apocalypse that occurs while you're inside of this school. Apparently, you come out of this cataclysmic moment unscathed, but you are witnessing the apocalypse. And what I love about this video game is it really isn't afraid to take you back to the roots, where you have open areas, but you really do have a big focus on dungeon style maps. These things are very important to keep those aesthetics alive. If you are an RPG fan, you're gonna love this. Okay, so this game takes all of those RPG mechanics, takes all of those dark anime themes, and it basically mixes it up with what I like to call the Pokemon mechanic, which is a capture and raise and combine and upgrade system with what they call demons, monsters. Now, this is the cream of the crop of the series. I mean, these demons, you're going out, you're fighting these demons, and you're recruiting them, and you're able to take them onto your team. And what happens is you build them up, and you're able to kind of combine them and evolve them, and each of these animals, each of these monsters, these demons, they have their own backstory, their own traits. Apparently, what I've heard from a lot of people that have played the game is they're talking about the quality, the graphics, the design of these demons, and they're just saying it is way over the top. And I myself am extremely excited to play it. I haven't finished number 3 yet. It's an extensive game, as are most RPGs. If we look at the Metacritic scores, it's sitting at an 85 based off of 81 critic reviews. And to me, I think that's actually really good. The user score is at a 7.6. But again, this particular type of video game isn't for everyone. So if you're looking for a video game that has that anime aesthetic with the dark tone and mystery, but it also incorporates the classic RPG mechanics with the Pokemon mechanics, with the catch and evolve system, you're gonna love this game. For our next game, I'm going to talk about something that's obviously pretty popular, and I mentioned it earlier when talking about my first game, and this is the new Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl remake. You must be familiar with Pokemon if you're watching this channel. If you aren't, you need to start from day one, okay? Get yourself a Game Boy Pocket, a nice Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Silver, and there you go. Nintendo has re-released their successful Diamond and Pearl Pokemon series, okay? Now, Diamond and Pearl, I believe, I'm not sure which generation it is, but it is one of the further along generation. The mechanics of the old school Pokemon game is very, very missed. Now, what they did with the recent Sword and Shield release was interesting. I loved it. The wild area, I love it. But one thing I must say is there's something about the unknown. So something about not knowing what Pokemon you're going to run into in the grass. That is what really fueled those old school mechanics. I loved Sword and Shield, but it did kind of change the formula to a point where it was a little bit jarring, I would say. I don't necessarily think that it was for the better in all aspects, okay? So this Brilliant Diamond and Pearl remake was re-released. It's basically the same video game, just with a new skin. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like they changed much, okay? So basically, it's still the same top-down approach. Even if you've played Pokemon Sword and Shield, it essentially still looks the same. Whether it be, the character designs, the Pokemon designs, they're all very familiar, okay? I do think that this focuses on that particular generation. I believe it might be the Sinnoh region, apparently. The mechanics are still the same. You're still basically catching Pokemon, running through grass, fighting gym trainers, doing little side quests. They did add a few interesting things that I saw. They did add some new dungeon kind of mechanics to it, where there are underground Pokemon that you may find similar to a wild area, like a specified place where you find specific Pokemon. That's something I'm very interested in seeing. I basically played the heck out of Sword and Shield, and honestly, I am super excited to play this remake for Diamond and Pearl. Now, if we look at this Metacritic score for Diamond and Pearl, it is currently sitting at a 74 based off of 73 critic reviews. And it's sitting at a 5.6 for the user reviews. These days, it's hard not to expect anything else. I mean, the level of criticism that video games receive now might be more intense than it's ever been. Pokemon will never get it right. There's so much nostalgia, so much fandom, that they're gonna let you have it if you do mess up. There's different things that were a little jarring at first to deal with the new remakes, in regards to experience, share, and things like that. The difficulty level, it doesn't feel 100% pushed forward, but yet this is still a quality game, obviously, that I want to play. So for our third video game, this is a new one for me. I honestly will admittedly say I am mainly a Nintendo and a PlayStation gamer. I grew up in the era where, you had a PlayStation or you had an Xbox. This new day thing where people are buying a ton of things, it's new for me. So my third game is actually an Xbox game that I am very fascinated in, and this is Forza Horizon 5. Now, I don't know 100% about this series. Every time I see it, I just hear astounding views, whether it's about the graphics, the gameplay, revolutionizing the racing series. Now, everything I've heard about Forza Horizon 5 has been amazing. Now, I want to say a disclaimer. I am terrible at racing games, but one thing I do love is open world video games. When I found out that Forza Horizon 5 actually took that racing genre, took that racetrack racing around with realistic graphics and took it to a new genre, which was the open world genre. I was honestly quite fascinated. Okay, now Forza Horizon 5 takes place in Mexico. Biggest part of this video game is the landscapes. Now, Mexico apparently looks amazing on the Xbox Series X. I wouldn't know because I haven't purchased one yet, but it doesn't stop me from fascinating about driving through the streets in Mexico. They have tons of different terrain, you know, dirt roads, winding roads, straight off streets where you can get some major speed. When you look at some of these, you know, trailers, you obviously are taken aback by exactly how expansive this world is and how beautiful the graphics look. Man, you know, this is just a beauty. I can imagine just having this on a nice big screen TV. Even with the wheel, could you imagine having it with the real wheel? Now, Forza Horizon 5 is an Xbox Series X exclusive, so if I do have any aspirations of playing it, I will have to bite the bullet and go out and get me an Xbox Series X. Whenever I do, this would be a video game that might actually take me over there. Now that, and obviously Skyrim 6. If you look at the Forza Horizon on Metacritic, we are looking at a Metascore of 92. That's based off of 98 critic reviews, which is really good. You're looking at the user score of 8.6. Like I said, this is based off of about 2,000 user reviews. People seem to love this game, and I am super excited, you know, to see where they take this. Different places that they might have. I'm not too sure where they've gone, but I'm sure I would love to know where they're headed. The next video game we're going to talk about is a game that was recently re-released in this new modern day director's cut editions that they're doing. Now this is Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut. And like I said, if you know Cleverboy and you've watched my videos, you know how I feel about these open world video games. This game fascinates me. I love the Asian culture, the aesthetics, the samurai culture. All of that has always been something that I held close to my chest. And this video game seems to embody a lot of that cultural emotion, okay? You know, whether it be the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful designs of the samurai armor, or just the aesthetics of the wind. You know, they have a wind mechanic in the video game where it takes a lot of advantage of the pedals and the beautiful landscapes of their location. And also, it seems as though the fighting system is just amazing, you know, samurai swords, all of that stuff is always a plus. And this is one video game that I am super excited to play when I get the chance. This holiday season, if I can get my hands on this video game, I will. And I might actually even make a review about this and tie it into a lot of other similar aesthetic video games that I love. Now, the last video game that I want to talk about is something that I've never played before, and honestly, it's a type of video game that I'm also very new to. And this video game is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Now, Nintendo re-released this on October 30th of 2020 for the Nintendo Switch. I believe this was previously released on one of their older consoles. Nonetheless, they've re-released it for the Switch, and this is the third installment in the Pikmin series. Now, the Pikmin series is something that I don't know too much about, but from my observation, it seems as though it's a real-time strategy game. It seems as though you're basically able to take control of these autonomous characters. I believe they're called Pikmin. And basically, your job is to make it through obstacles based off of certain abilities of certain Pikmin, certain surroundings. And what I read was that there is some type of time-based system to it. This type of video game is very, very interesting. This is something that I'm newly interested in, these real-time strategy games. Okay, you know, probably the most recent one, and the one that actually took me completely to the side of this, was Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, I don't know how how many similarities these two games have with each other, because again, I've never played Pikmin, but playing Three Houses and dealing with that positional strategy with your characters, where you're not necessarily controlling a character through uh, an open system. It has that type of weight in attack type of feeling, but it's also based off of positioning like a chessboard. Pikmin 3 Deluxe sounds like something that would be really good for the mind, especially around this holiday season, you know, with the cute aesthetics, you know, the small colorful characters, but the robust system and strategy based guides. Now, if we look at the Pikmin 3 on Metacritic, it's currently sitting at a 85, and that's based off of 93 critic reviews. I think that's great. The user scores are just about the same, 8.4, and I think when you have that balance, it shows you something about the video games. It really does prove that there is something of quality there. All right, now there are 5 video games that I want to play that I haven't gotten an opportunity to play. Okay, now I started off with Shin Megami Tensei 5. I went over to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl remake. I went over to Forza Horizon 5, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and I ended it off with Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Now, these 5 games, of course, aren't the only games that I'm excited to play, but I wanted to share with you some of the most anticipated games that I want to play, especially during this holiday season as we wind out the 2021 year. I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this game lineup, and if you guys have actually played these games, whether I should avoid them or things I should look out for, but don't spoil it for me. I would love for you guys to come back with us, so go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button. Let us know what you think about this episode, and I want to wish you guys a happy holiday season. I'm sure I'll see you guys back here before the end of the year, but if not, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.